Tim O'Malley with Tim Priester for Irish Illustrated after Notre Dame's 11th practice of spring ball. And Tim, you watched the defense today, and there was late in practice some good scrimmage action, and I thought the defense won that 23-snap scrimmage, including the nickel.
Yeah, you and I talked. I mean, if the number two defense, or if the starting defensive ends were Ogundiji and Dalen Hayes, you'd feel pretty good about it. Now you want Khalid Kareem, who, by the way, was slowed today. Not slowed, he was out of practice. He was in jersey and shorts. It's not a serious injury. And, of course, Julian Okwara is an All-American level player. But those two backup defensive ends are very good. Coming off the edge, they're very dangerous. And you could move forward just fine with those two. But fortunately, you have 4 to 6 defensive ends that can play.
Yeah, I thought in the scrimmage, the defensive front definitely won the day. I actually got a chance with binoculars to watch. This is interesting because we don't see a lot of one-on-one. It's about 100 yards away. Every defensive lineman went against every offensive lineman in a 2 reps. Winners on the offensive line, I thought Josh Lugg looked the best from a left guard position. Aaron Banks was at left tackle. He was beaten a couple times by Dalen Hayes. Now, I think Liam Eichenberg is slowed. He did work a little with the 2s, but he didn't really come into scrimmage action. But good day for Lugg and going against Myron Tagovailoa-Omosa. Other than that, I think the defensive line won again, and that includes Ade Ogundeji. Did get Robert Hainsey 1 out of 2 with the really nice pass rush. And, you can just see the strength of the team is that defensive front. I think they continue to show it.
We saw more live action with Alohi Gilman, not fully live. There wasn't contact, but at least he was running around out there, and it looks like the 2 rovers, Moala and who's the other rover?
Usu Koromoa. Yep.
Coach is screwing me up over Usu Koromoa. They look like they've solidified their spot in the rotation there at the 1 and 2 spots on the depth chart.
And when kind of going down the depth chart, where you're looking at the starting receivers, I thought Michael Young had a very good day, and then Joe Wilkins continues to flash. I had him 3 for 4. He caught a post route touchdown. He seems to get in and out of his break pretty quickly, and of course that's, you're having Claypool, Fink are always having good practices, but Michael Young continues to show up. I think the key for him is staying on the field. That has been a problem in the past, but I haven't really, of the practices we've seen, he's looked good all spring to me.
We've said we wouldn't be surprised if Jack Lamb. We've seen Jack Lamb in passing situations, but we wouldn't be surprised if he ended up nailing down the job full time. He was in there once again in the 7-on-7, and I think he continues to be very impressive. I will not be surprised at all if Jack Lamb is the full-time starter at the Buck linebacker.
More updates on some of the younger guys. Jameer Smith was out, undisclosed injury. I don't think it's not supposed to be serious. And I thought Tommy Tremble, actually, it seemed like he was getting a little more work today in flash. He had a really nice move in one-on-ones where I think Derek Allen might have guessed. But Tremble continues to make some plays, and I thought Coach Kelly, when he said he can help us because he can block in space, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I never think of the smaller tight ends where you're looking at them in blocking roles, but if he can get out there and kind of aid the running game on the outside, maybe he could carve a little role with the obvious 2 starters with Kmet and Brock Wright.
Coach Kelly, you want to come in here and show why I screwed up what I was saying?
What did you screw up?
I don't know. I start babbling.
It's Owusu Koromoa, but every once in a while we get Owusu out of it.
We just call him Woo.
Well, all right, well, that's easier.
Because we're not as smart as you guys. So we try to keep it simpler.
Tommy Tremble looked good today, though?
Yeah, Tommy continues to get, I think, more comfortable with the offensive structure in terms of where we're trying to put him in. Again, I think you mentioned it. We're trying to find a niche for him because you've got, obviously Wright and Kmet have kind of, obviously put themselves in a position of 1-2. So finding a niche for him, I think he's starting to feel more comfortable.
What do you like about Jack Lamb? What's impressed you about him?
It's interesting. A lot of our offensive linemen during the year felt like he kind of, had that ability to strike you. Even though he didn't look like physically he was imposing, he just could leverage you, and so he just strikes well as a linebacker. He can hit you, and he can run out. So he has those intangibles. It's just getting him up to speed with all the other things that are going on. You've got jet sweeps, counter action. We do a lot offensively, and so sometimes you're concerned as an offensive coach that you get your playbook in, but I get concerned as I'm watching the defense more and more that we do too much for these young linebackers because they're seeing way too much.
And now his strength has caught up a little bit too.
It has, and that's been, and as you know, obviously he was injured, but you can see that he's physically starting to catch up and putting himself in a position where he can compete.
As you can see, we're going to have 3 practice reports at irhillustrated.com afterwards, and then maybe we'll just meet back here again Saturday after practice, and we'll have a full rundown.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.